if I share information with someone else, can I delete it from them? Not really. If I create an application, can I control some of what it does? I mean, it's possible to actually make applications that will not run on a jailbroken machine. Full stop. You can actually have something that is an enclave-based, signed by the manufacturer. If you break this version of software and put your own and backdoor it in any way, software don't run. Full stop. Part of the software running is it will validate before it downloads any encryption keys that it needs that nothing's been fucked with. So, if I want, I can create applications like banks do to stop me screenshotting, to stop me do other such things. And I can display things at different levels. If I start building these applications, I can leave the control back in the user's hands. So even though you now have a copy, it can be possible that I have applications written, and the reason I'm making my Twitter replacement application here that we're talking about is I want to give control back to you. Now imagine for a second, you have the ability to delete a key. And that key, if you don't update it, will self-delete after, say, a week. So if you remove something, if there's an entry gone from the blockchain, the application won't update anymore, and it won't get that information. If you do not have a decryption key, what is an AES 256 encrypted file worth? Very little. So, if we start thinking about what we can do, I want you to start thinking about not big, crunchy systems. And the cloud right now is a big, crunchy system. The cloud is still a bunch of computers run by a bunch of companies. I want you to start thinking about if you, and I mean individually, start putting things on applications. If you start deciding what gets shared. If you decide the level of protection you want. So, let me put it this way. If I am super paranoid and anal, and I want to make sure that my file will never be deleted, and I pay for 1 million separate, provably different people in at least 100 countries, different locations, to store my file micropayment-wise, how much probability that all of them go down at the same time do you think exists? I know, that one's a bit overkill, but if I want to pay 1,000th of a cent per file to do that, and this file's worth the money where 1,000 times 1,000th of a cent happens every month, and I'm willing to pay the $10 to globally store this file across that many systems, I can. Right now, if I want to do that, can I? No. I can stick it in Iron Mountain. What happens in Iron Mountain? So Colorado, there's an ex-nuclear facility where companies, military, store data underground because, well, no radiation, hopefully it won't get nuked, blah, blah, blah. Way under the surface of where it should be safe. Who's ever tried to load a 20-year-old DVD? Even worse, DVD-R. Did you know those stupid little blue marker pens that people write on the front of them degrade data? Yes, they do. Who has ever gone back and tried to access an old tape? Yeah. Not to make fun of her, but my ex-wife used an old computer I had as a shelf. Because the rack, when you took out the things in order, the 1RU machines made a shelving unit. And you sell the rest. So, novel invention. Anyway, you could put things in for a lot of money and store it. What happens if I have a hash of information and 50 years goes by? I've still got a hash. And if I'm paying people to keep their file and validate it, what then? So, Kieran will peek up on this one because we've got some IP filed on proving files after a bit of time. But don't worry, she's filed it. So, what we can do is pay you only at the end of the month if and only if you have that file. If we can take parts of the file and pre-do them that you don't know and build contracts, then we Merkleize the file so that we can go, I want that bit and that bit of the Merkle tree, and that's where you get paid, and you don't know them until I disclose them. How do you get paid before the end of the month? But if I put it using something like nlock time, you know, that thing that Core stripped out of Bitcoin because they were stupid, because, well, we've got to put it all on chain because it's safer on chain. Let's now think about if I pay you guys, each and every one of you gets paid a small fraction of a bit of money to make sure that you hold an nlock time file. That file cannot be sent to the blockchain before a date. You don't get paid if you send it early. You only get paid if you hold it and you send it when you have to. All of you send it. Because I'm super paranoid and I don't trust 5 people. I want to have 100 plus people holding this stupid file because screw you, I can. Well, these guys now have their proof. You don't need to know what you're protecting. You don't need to know what you're doing. Your job is, I send this file at the end of the month. I get paid. They then get what they need to get paid, and only the people, and only because it can be individualized so that every one of you has a different part to prove. So even though it's in a public blockchain, you have to have branch and leaf 1 and 3. You, 2 and 4. You, 6 and 8. You, 709 and 5. We can mix it all up. I can make it as stupidly convoluted as I want. And you know why you use my app to do all this? Not because I hold all your data. Because I have a stupidly, wonderfully, ridiculously complex system where I can have 100 people have different things and provably know that each of you only get paid for doing one job and that you can't get any information from any of the others so that you can't cheat. And I do that, and I make that app, and you guys do your job, I do my job, you do your job, and guess what? Capitalism. this is the whole point everyone's forgetting. Capitalism isn't anarchy. It isn't a bunch of people in mum's basement. It is not Google or Facebook. That's mercantilism. A lot of governments love that because it's easier to go after one group. Except none of them pay their tax anyway. Double Dutch don't pay their tax. Google don't pay tax. Everyone offshores everything. No innovation really happens because you need money to do research and development. So why don't we get any research and development? And we get fucking zilch right now. Our world is not really making things better. Taiwan's doing chip design. Yay. Silicon Valley's not. Hardware hasn't happened in Silicon Valley for ages. Why? Because they're pumping their money out. Lots of small guys, lots of competing businesses. That's how we make efficient systems. The reason why governments don't like this, too big to fail. If Google goes down, anyone know how many employees Google has right now? That's even more. I think they're somewhere around 1 million people or something stupid now. 1 million people lose their job, it fucks up economies. If you have 1,000 companies with 1,000 people, if one goes down, another pops up. But governments don't like that because that means 1,000 companies to monitor. We have to do our job. And, well, makes it hard to get to the golf course. I mean, honestly, here I am in the SEC. I've got to have golf course Friday, then there's drinks Thursday, and not do my job Wednesday, and wait till people like Craig do all the court cases so I can come in at the end and go, we saved you. I know, regulators like me too. Anyway, so when we're talking about all this stuff, and we have this bit about multicast, broadcast, unicast, etc., we have this indexing system here. We have this thing called Bitcoin, remember? It's the bit that ties us together. So what I was talking about before, not the way that everyone keeps thinking in blockchains and many of them or anything like this, doesn't mean that everyone gets every bit of information. It's an index. It's a way of provably storing data, of linking all of these different services. So each of these bits of network can share info and share what they need. So do you want to join the latest Uzbekistani upgrade, like dancing and cultural group and find out what's happening over there? No? No one Uzbekistani? No? Probably don't want that info. Probably don't want to sign up for it. Do you want to know what's happening in Slovenian politics? No? You are part of this country, some of you. So anyway, that's a normal sort of malaise that we have in the world now. Other people can do it. Anyway, you want to sign up for things happening here, right? You want to... So who wants to find out about the latest rave scene here in Slovenia? Some of you? How about restaurant reviews? So, what would you trust more? Yelp? Or something that I now link provably? So, jumping to another app here, going away from our communication and sharing one. What if I provably only allow you to have proven records of meals you've had? I don't need to have who you are.